Today we're digging into the latest kind of surprising turn in that whole Drake and Joe Budden thing.
Yeah, it's taken an interesting twist.
Right, because now Melyssa Ford, the model, she's suddenly right in the middle of it. Unexpectedly.
Yeah, totally unexpectedly. We're going to break down, what Drake actually did this time and what it all means.
Okay, so for background, Drake just dropped some new merchandise. It's connected to his Home Sexy Tongues For You release and the Nokia video.
Right, standard artist stuff, releasing merch. But one item in particular is causing all the buzz.
The hoodie.
Exactly, the hoodie. It features this photo of Melyssa Ford from back in her modeling days, described as seductive.
Okay, using a model's photo?
Yeah.
Maybe not that weird on its own, but there's more to it.
Oh yeah, there's another layer. Because the hoodie also has this website address printed really clearly on it. Videovixens.ca.
Videovixens.ca. Sounds like maybe, I don't know, an old music video site.
You'd think so, but no, if you actually go to that URL,
It takes you somewhere else entirely.
it redirects you straight to Joe Budden's Patreon page.
Wow. Okay. So Drake puts Melyssa Ford's picture on a hoodie and uses it to send people to Joe Budden's Patreon.
Yep. It's quite a move, like using her image, maybe without asking, to promote his rival's paid platform. It's definitely a specific kind of troll.
And Melyssa Ford, well, she's a co-host on the Joe Budden podcast now, right? So she obviously saw this.
Oh, she saw it, and she reacted pretty strongly, actually, on their latest podcast episode.
Yeah, she wasn't quiet about it. She basically asked, point blank.
Where's my check? Right.
Exactly. Where's my check? Where's my fucking check? That's pretty direct. She wants to be paid.
Understandably.
Yeah.
She said she had no idea it was happening, just woke up to it, no warning, no compensation. You can see why she'd be upset.
Totally. And she mentioned she'd actually reached out to Drake about it.
Yeah, and she brought up a really key point, too, about who actually owns that photo.
Right. She thinks she might own the rights herself because it's apparently for her first calendar.
Which, if true, makes this whole thing legally complicated for Drake. Using copyrighted material for commercial merch without permission. That's a problem.
Definitely adds another dimension beyond just the beef,
Okay.
Actual potential legal stuff.
So that's Ford's reaction. Angry, demanding payment, questioning the legality.
But then you have Joe Budden. How did he react to Drake basically sending potential subscribers his way using Melyssa's picture?
Well, that's the other surprising part. His reaction was much calmer.
Homer, he wasn't mad.
He actually called Drake's move dope.
Dope. Seriously.
Yeah, he seemed almost like amused by it, and maybe appreciated the free promotion for his Patreon, even if it came via this weird indirect troll involving his co-host.
Huh. So Ford is furious, and Budden thinks it's dope. That's quite a contrast.
It really is. It kind of speaks volumes about the dynamic, maybe. Budden sees it as part of the game, perhaps. Even respects the hustle in a weird way.
Maybe. Or just sees the upside for his Patreon page traffic. But this isn't totally out of the blue from Drake, referencing them both recently.
No, you're right. On that same Home Sexy Young's For You release, there was that line in the track, "Give me a hug."
Oh, yeah, I remember that. He said, Melyssa Ford, you a legend from the six, hate to see you with a dick sucker.
Pretty blatant jab, right? Widely interpreted as being aimed directly at Budden.
Yeah, no question. So the hoodie feels like, well, a follow-up to that. Another shot in the same vein.
Exactly. It connects. And we should probably remember, this feud has history. It really flared up again, last year, 2023?
Yeah, when Budden went in hard on Drake's album for all the dogs.
He did. Said Drake was rapping for the children, made comments about him still dating younger women.
Still fucking 25-year-olds, I think was the quote. Yeah, it's precursor.
Yeah. And Drake hit back then too, right? Saying Budden had failed at music.
Yep. So, yeah, bad blood there for sure. Not exactly friendly banter.
Which makes Budden's current dope reaction even more interesting. Because wasn't he saying recently he was totally done engaging with Drake?
He was. I remember him saying something like he wasn't interested in going back and forth with a corpse. Basically saying Drake wasn't relevant enough for him to beef with anymore.
Right. He seemed pretty firm about being over it. So for him to now find this latest move dope, it's a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Maybe he genuinely finds it funny. Or maybe the Patreon promotion angle outweighs the insult this time.
Could be. So wrapping this up, Drake trolls Budden using Melyssa Ford's image on merch, redirects to Budden's Patreon. Ford is understandably angry and wants compensation, raising legal questions. Budden, thinks it's kind of cool.
That's the gist. You've got Ford focused on the very real issues of consent, compensation, image rights. Then Budden seemingly viewing it more through the prism of their ongoing public rivalry and, well, maybe the business boost.
It really highlights how messy these things can get. It's not just two guys trading insults anymore. You've got legal implications, ethical questions about using someone else's image.
Absolutely. It makes you think, about how these public feuds play out now. People get drawn in who weren't initially involved.
Yeah. And what does that mean? Like, what are the rules, if any? Especially when you're using someone's actual face and history to score points against someone else.
It's a good question to leave folks with. What are the ethics of pulling third parties into these conflicts, especially using their image commercially? Where do you draw the line in the digital age?